This property is not owned by me, it's not owned by any of my students, it's controlled by one of my students. Tom is, how old are you, Tom?
I'm 18 years old.
He's 18 years old. Hey, what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds, and right now I want to introduce you to a guy who's 18 years old. His name's Tom, and he is completely financially free by a direct result of following my strategies in property. So, Tom, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me, Samuel.
So, you are literally 18 years old.
Yeah.
True or false? Okay. You are now making more money than your teachers at school were.
Yeah.
True or false?
True.
You left school, college, whatever, at 18.
Yeah.
Never have to have a job in your life.
Nope.
That sounds too good to be true, brother.
I know it does. I kind of have to pinch myself sometimes a little bit, but yeah, that's the facts.
So, talk to me about how this started. When did you start watching the videos and what happened?
So, I started watching the videos in September of 2020.
Not that long ago.
No, so I was, managed to get away for a holiday, and I just started scrolling on YouTube, came across your videos, and just binged, watched loads of videos.
17 at the time?
Yeah.
Wow.
17 at the time. And I thought, well, these are great. I didn't know that you could do all these different types of things with property. And yeah, after that I booked onto the online crash course that you did in February, and that's when I learned about rent to rents, which is what my first deal was.
You're right.
So I learned that and all the different strategies that you can do, and it was about 10 hours, but I was glued for every single second of the whole video stream. It was great.
And you've also, you went on to do advanced training,
Yes.
which you paid for yourself.
Yes.
Out of your basically money that you'd worked for as a teenager, while at school, while studying. So did it stink to pay for education?
It did. It initially, I was kind of like, oh well, if I don't put the effort in afterwards, don't take action, then I'm going to have put a lot of money down the drain. But thankfully, watching the videos, not only does it teach you everything, but it kind of holds you accountable as well. You kind of meet loads of people at these training things, and it really motivated me to want to go find deals and stuff. So after the online course that I did a little bit, watched some more of your videos on rent to rent. And then within about 2 weeks afterwards, I'd listed the first rent to HMO that I got in Huddersfield.
Amazing. So first thing I want to say is mad congratulations.
Thank you.
Because what you've done is remarkable, and a lot of teenagers, 18-year-olds wouldn't even dream of taking the kind of action that you've taken. And I know it's not been easy. You've had to get rejected, you've gone into estate agents, you've been on the phone, you've been hustling, but the fact that now you've got a rent to rent.
Yeah.
You've got a lease option agreement, serviced accommodation. You've packaged and sold a deal recently.
Yeah.
And what's your, how much last month, for instance, did you make in profit from your rent to rent and lease option agreement?
So from the rent to rent and the lease option agreement last month, I made just over £2,000, so about 2,200. Well, exactly 2,250 grand last month.
£2,200 clean profit.
Yeah, clean profit.
1 month from a rent to rent and a lease option agreement, and that doesn't include package and selling. That's just pure rent coming in, which is an average salary.
Yeah,
that's incredible. So what I want to do in this video is I want you to break down a few things. Firstly, I want to talk to you about the strategy, how you did it, what a rent to rent is, what a lease option agreement is, what serviced accommodation is, how you did it, what area you've done it in, and I really want to go through the A to Z so that people watching this maybe can skip some of the hardships that you took. They can copy it, paste it, and do the same watching the video. So first things first, rent to rent. That was your first deal.
Yeah, first deal.
How did you find it? What happened?
So the rent to rent, initially I spent a lot of time phoning agents, getting rejected, told, oh, we don't know what a company let is, we don't know what rent to rent is, leave us alone, phone down. I was like, picked up the phone again and just kept going and going and going and going, and I had to go for no every time.
What does that mean? What does go for no mean?
So don't expect them to be like, oh yes, we do company lets, corporate lets, rent to rents. Don't expect that. and just keep ringing the phone. The more times you ring the phone, the more likely you are to get a
Right,
yes.
but that's a really big lesson straight away. Rather than ringing up and thinking, I hope they say yes, I hope they say yes, I hope they say yes, and then they say no, and you go, oh, rejected, and then you quit.
Yeah.
If you think, actually, they probably will say no, and guess what? That's part of the game. Hey, my name's Tom, da 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 da. I'm looking to rent this property. It would be a corporate let. I wouldn't be living there myself. And if they go, whoa, we don't do corporate lets, beep, you go, well, I expected that to happen anyway.
Yeah.
And then you pick up the phone again, and then you pick up the phone again. So how many people did you speak to before you had someone that said, yeah, I'm open?
I must have made about 20 phone calls, 20, 30 phone calls before I got a yes.
Rejection, 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 rejection. What was it that kept you going through the rejections?
Knowing that if I did keep ringing and I followed kind of scripts or maybe what I'd seen on videos that you'd done and how to talk to the agents, make sure you said the right things, because that's really important. If you kind of pick up the phone without any confidence, not knowing exactly what you're going to say and kind of wing it, if you've not done it before, it's really hard to kind of get that conversation going.
Yeah.
So picking up the phone, knowing what to say, being polite with confidence, expecting no, and then obviously eventually after the 30 calls I got a yes, which was fantastic. And
amazing.
Then,
So that first agent that was like, yes, this is something we're open to. You're based where?
Huddersfield.
You're based in Huddersfield,
Yeah.
and you're trying to convince me that Huddersfield is a great holiday destination. Not sure about that one still. Huddersfield or Hawaii, I'm not sure, but we'll get there. So this first house in Huddersfield,
Yeah.
what was it? What was it currently being used as?
So it was currently just being used as a single let. It was advertised as 2 bedrooms, but it had a reception room and a loft.
Right.
So they had the floor plan on their website, and I thought, well, that's easily 1, 2, that's 4 rooms.
Yes.
So
How do you turn a sitting room into a bedroom?
put a bed in it?
Yes. So you see this 2-bedroom for rent. How much was it on for rent?
£575 a month.
575, and you're thinking, well, hold on a minute. Rooms are renting for like £400 a month. I could rent both rooms out and the sitting room and the loft, and I could get about, what, £1,500?
£1,500, yeah, that's how much.
And then I'm going to pay the landlord, I'm going to pay the bills, I'll be left with a ka-ching, some nice passive income for me.
£550 a month profit.
So that profits you $550 a month.
Yeah.
Setting it up, I mean, dude, man, I came out to the house. I've seen the house. You had to paint it yourself.
Yeah.
You had to furnish it. How much money did you have to put to get that property?
So I didn't actually pay a deposit on the property.
How did you get around that?
Sweet talking, kind of. I just kind of said, well, it's great as it is, but this is as a single let, but this is what I want to do. I'm going to need to paint. I'm going to need to put in furniture in 4 rooms, which isn't cheap. I'm going to have to get a carpet put in the loft. And then I was kind of like, well, come on then. And then they were like, yeah, go for it. And then I had to pay $575 the day that I signed. So I had to pay
upfront rent.
Yep, upfront. And then the furnishings for the beds and the bedside tables, that was all IKEA. And the carpets, and then I painted myself, but I still had to buy the paint and the paint brushes and stuff.
Yeah.
So cost around £600, all of that.
Yeah.
The rent up front $575, so you're looking at just over £1,000.
That's not a lot though still.
No, it's not, because it made itself back in 2 months.
So just over £1,000, but you had to put some sweat equity in it.
Yeah.
Because you did a lot of the stuff yourself.
Yeah.
However, so talk me through the figures. £1,500. How long did it take you to fill the rooms?
Not long at all. Maybe 2 weeks from when I got the keys.
2 weeks. I know your mum was a little bit stressed.
Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, you've just gone on Samuel Leeds' course and now you've rented this house. What happens if you can't rent the rooms out?
Yeah.
What does your mum think?
So she's quite an old-fashioned landlady. Her and my dad have done pretty well in property, but only really buying properties and renting them out, just single lets.
Yeah.
Got a few HMOs, but she'd never heard of the concept of rent to rent. So I told her all about it. I've been on Samuel Leeds' online crash course. I've looked at some of the videos. This was like a really good idea for someone my age that doesn't have a lot of money or experience. I can, you know, make a few £100 a month, and I also get the experience of being a landlord. And she was like, oh, well, I've never heard of this. I've been doing this for 18, 20 years. I've got no idea what this is. Are you sure? Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Did she give you money to get started?
No, nothing.
Nothing at all. So, all right. So your mum was a little bit skeptical. You started yourself.
Yeah.
You put your own money in.
Yeah.
From just little side jobs and stuff while you were studying. You also, this property, did you rent the rooms yourself?
Yes. So
you didn't pay letting agents,
I advertised them all myself on Open Rent, Spare Room, and Facebook Marketplace.
Cool. Which is basically next to nothing.
That's completely free.
Completely free.
Yeah.
So you marketed the rooms, you filled them single-handedly.
Yeah.
You then getting a profit of like about 500 something pounds a month. What did you think when you got that first property and the money started coming in?
Like I said, I kind of had to pinch myself a little bit. Like I've never really heard of any other 18-year-old landlords.
Yeah.
Like people were paying me money to have a roof over their head, and I was kind of like, this is not this. I was like, a year ago, this is not the service that I think I'd be providing for people.
Yeah.
And then when I started seeing the money coming in, I was like, well, where's the next one? Kind of thing.
Now you used the money, you reinvested it. Mm-hmm. You've done, you've done quite a bit of training with myself.
Yes.
How's the training been, by the way?
It's been fantastic. Everything's been so informative, and dotted every I, crossed every T, all the details. And without the training, I wouldn't be where I am now. I wouldn't be sat here if it wasn't for the training. I wouldn't be financially free. I wouldn't be able to kind of almost do what I want when I want now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that.
Oh well, thank you for saying. And for me, it's a great buzz being able, because when I started out, I was 17. I got my first house at 17, and being able to see other young people win, it's awesome. And you've put a lot of work in. So you have to credit where credit's due. So you then went and got a property on a lease option agreement, which is insane. So this lease option agreement, talk me through firstly, before we talk about the cash flow, the rent, talk me through how you structured the deal, how much you're going to be paying for it, and why you've agreed to buy it in 7 years and not today.
So it came about just through looking on Rightmove, looking at the oldest listed properties. So this was a property that the landlord could not sell. He'd been trying to sell it for a while, and it just wasn't budging at all. He'd also been renting the property though, so he'd been renting it for the past few years, renting that out pretty well. Came to try and sell it and just could not sell it. So
you saw this property, you saw that it was for sale, but also for rent.
Yeah.
And you thought, this could be a lease option.
Yeah, so the training teaches you that's the kind of way that you should look for properties.
Yeah.
If something that's been on the market for a while, and then it's a bonus if it's been rented out before as well.
Yeah.
So
because then you know that it's going to have a buy-to-let mortgage.
Yes.
And also you know that the landlord wants to sell it, but it's also open to rent it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need the money now.
Yeah.
And also tell me, for anyone that's thinking, a lease option, what? What is a lease option agreement?
So basically you agree to buy the property for a fixed price now, but you don't actually pay that. All you pay is on the option, which could be as little as £1.
So you pay an option fee as little as £1,
yeah,
and then you have the right, not the obligation, but the option to buy a property now, but pay for it later.
Yes.
And then in the meantime, you benefit from any capital appreciation, any uplift. You also benefit from any rent that you're getting on the property, but you pay the landlord an agreed monthly fee.
Yes, and so but he has the obligation. He has to sell it basically if I want to buy it. So
yes.
He's obliged to sell, but I'm not obliged to buy, which is kind of the beauty of the deal. And
people might think that's unfair. Why does he have to sell it, but you have the option to buy it? It doesn't seem fair. What would you say?
I would say that, the property is going to be completely off his hands for the next 7 years.
Right.
He's never going to have any arrears. He's not going to have to pay any major repairs.
Yes.
So I'm completely taking care of the property for him.
Yes.
And then he's going to get the money for it at the end as well.
But you know what? You have grown so much as a person over the last 12 months.
Thanks.
Do you feel that?
I feel.
If I'd have asked that question a year ago, you'd have been like, oh, oh, I don't know, right? But now it's just like, no, because I'm going to take it off his hands and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
So with lease option agreement then, so you agree to buy a house now, pay for it later, you're taking the property off of the landlord's hands and you're then renting out, dealing with all the issues. He's getting the price that he wants, but you're paying for it on your terms, which is in 7 years' time.
Yes.
So this property then is worth about 200 grand?
Yes, around the £200,000 mark, yeah.
So you agreed to buy it for £200,000?
Yes.
And when do you have to pay for it?
In 7 years' time, so in 2028.
In 2028. If in 2028 it's not gone up in value, you can walk away.
Yeah.
But you have the right to buy it
Yep.
for 210,000.
Yeah.
Is that what you agreed?
Yeah, 210.
In 2028.
Yes.
So you've now got this property under your control. What are you doing with it?
So I'm renting it out as service accommodation. And for people that don't know what service accommodation is, it's Airbnb, Booking.com.
Right.
So it's available for short staycations, contractors, people maybe in between moving houses, and they can, for whatever reason that you might want to stay there, it's there.
So basically, normally when you've got a property, you just rent it out
Yeah.
to a tenant. Mm-hmm. How much would that house rent out for if you just rented it to one tenant?
£700 a month.
How much are you paying the landlord each month?
£700 a month.
So the landlord is getting £700 a month. So he's getting a guaranteed rent for 7 years and then a sale at the end of it. So actually he's getting a decent offer. But you are paying him £700 a month, but you've then rented it. Instead of putting a tenant in it, you've put it on Airbnb, on Booking.com. You've done it mint. You've furnished it to a beautiful standard. How much are you getting in rent on that property?
So last month it grossed around £3,000 and netted £1,750.
So you are grossing last month alone £3,000.
Yeah.
You're giving the landlord his 700 quid.
Yeah.
You're paying the cleaners, the bills, whatever.
Yeah.
You were left with £1,700 clean profit from that one lease option agreement property.
Yeah.
Dude, man, that is absolutely insane. So you've got that. You've got your rent to rent.
Yeah.
You also packaged and sold a deal recently.
Yeah. I've also been project managed a couple of properties as well. So there was we used the Refurbish Refinance strategy. I put some money into that and a lot of sweat equity. So that was a property that was bought for £60,000 cash. I joint ventured. And we spent £10,000 on it, and it's been revalued at £107,500. So we can pull all our money out of that.
So you're telling me in the last year you've done BRR, lease option, service accommodation, rent to rent, and you've done deal sourcing.
Yeah.
You've basically done almost every strategy that there is in the property industry.
Yeah.
Your experience now is through the roof. The money's now coming in nicely. You never have to work a job ever again.
Nope.
Making more money than your school teachers. What's your strongest reason? What's given you the motivation to go out and do all this? Because you've worked bloody hard.
I think I just have an innate hunger, just all the time. Like one thing's never enough. Like I could sit on my arse all day and do nothing now. I'm getting this money in every month. I maybe have to answer a few emails, a few messages, but really I just want to scale. I just want more. I want to be in a position where I can start doing developments and stuff like that, or maybe completely scale and systemize a sourcing company. And with my age and the time that I've got and the people that I've met, I really think that the world's my oyster. And
Absolutely.
That I can really put my mind into all the different strategies and really like put myself in a good position in 10, 20 years time.
So basically you're just building an empire right now.
Yeah.
So that down the line you can do what you want when you want with whoever you want.
Yeah, and that my kids don't have to work kind of
Right,
thing.
generational wealth.
Yeah.
If only they taught this in school, man.
I know.
But you've achieved it so quickly, you know. And the great thing is as well, your parents, I mean your mom, who was a little bit sceptical about the rent to rents at first, you know, now she's seen what you're doing and she's actually come and become a student. She's joined my training herself.
Yeah.
And she's doing developments and stuff. But the thing is, you know, I think having people around you is really. I'm so glad that your parents are like have seen you winning.
Yeah,
and you've proved that it works.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say that throughout the whole thing, alongside with the training and support that I've had from the entire Samuel Leeds community, my parents have been sensational in providing support and giving advice. Like I said, they're old-fashioned landlords, but completely open to new ideas. Like now, after seeing the success that I've had, my mum's joined the development training and she's doing really well with that. And if it wasn't for you or for me taking action on the training, she wouldn't be there doing that. But at the same time, sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit, oh, this deal didn't go through, she's there to kind of pick me back up. So she's been, both my parents have been great partners in helping me as well. And
that's so important to have people around you that are supporting you. And I think as well, some people aren't so fortunate as you. Some people, their parents are, I know your mum was a bit sceptical, but sometimes they're like, no, you can't do that. You have to go to uni, you have to, and they're really opposed. And I always think my best advice is don't tell your parents what you're going to do. Show them. Just get results. If you're at university and they're like, and you're talking about wanting to leave uni and they're going mad, don't leave uni. Do property on the side, make some quick money, and then when they see the money coming in, money talks, man. Let them see your results. Don't tell people what you're about to do. Show them what you just did. What do you think?
100%. Like it's a little bit different for me because obviously money definitely talks. My parents, they really get it. But for anyone out there that's maybe thinking, oh well, I don't know what so and so is going to think. Maybe my friends might think, oh, what you doing that? Are you not just coming to uni to do a business management course or something like that? When really you can be going out and making money, and then when your friends see the money, and they'll be like, oh, how did you do that? I've had some of that myself. I've had, well, what's rent to rent? What's a lease option kind of thing? And it's, well, you're the same people that were like, who's this Samuel Leeds guy kind of thing.
Right. And they've seen the results. Also, you've kind of developed a little bit of reputation in Huddersfield.
Yeah, a little bit.
People know who you are.
The property guy.
Right. So the letting agent. But when people know who you are and you start building a reputation, it snowballs, right? It gets easier and easier.
Yeah, contacts make contracts, don't they? So,
absolutely. Love that. Contacts make contracts. Love that. So what would be your best advice to someone that's starting out, maybe a teenager, and they're thinking, oh, I haven't really got much money, and my parents aren't giving me any money. Your parents didn't give you any money either.
No.
You were a teenager. What will be your best advice?
Get educated. I think do a crash course, learn what it's all about, kind of, and based off that you can go, oh, this strategy is probably what I might excel at, and then just take action. Start phoning agents, start booking viewings, and stuff just comes off the back of that. As soon as you start meeting agents and getting familiar with them, they'll go, oh, well, I've seen this and this might be a good idea for you to maybe have a look at to get started on. But one thing I would say is don't get disheartened early on, because it will happen. You will make the money. And once you get that first £300-400 maybe from a rent to rent, or that first couple of grand from when you're selling a deal, you'll get a really big buzz, and then it'll just snowball. Like you said, you'll just really want to get going. You'll want to firm more agents. You'll want to go more places to do viewings, and that's where you'll start thinking, okay, I can build something big here, like an empire, like you said.
Another question for you. What do you think about paying for training?
If you'd asked me this before I paid for any of the training, I would have gone, oh well, I don't know too much, and maybe I have to look into it more. And then the more that you say that and the more that you kind of think about it, the less likely you are to do it. I went to a crash course the other day, and as soon as any advanced training was brought up, people run into the back of the room to sign up for it. And that's the attitude that people need to have, because the training works. It really, really, really works. Without the training, I would not be sat here. I'd be at uni with everyone else partying, but instead I'm getting up at 6 a.m. to go and do viewings an hour away from where I live and making money.
Another thing you did though that was really smart, which I know I told you to do this, but you did really well, is you didn't rush in and just pay for loads of courses all at once.
No.
You watched the YouTube videos, put some feelers out, you then came to the crash course, you then bought a £1,000 online course.
Yeah.
With the deal selling training, you managed to sell just one deal. But one deal is enough to pay back for the training and more.
Yeah.
And you kind of just snowballed. And as you got more deals, you invested more, and now you're a fully fledged academy member.
Yeah.
But you didn't just join the academy straight away.
No.
You kind of built up to it.
Yeah.
And I really respect that, because I think that if a teenager comes up to me and says, "Shall I get a loan for 12 grand and put it and just do all of the training?" I might be a bit, ooh. It's hard for me to say, yeah, do it, because I don't know how serious they are. I don't know if they're going to actually. But I think if you start with just a free course, then do just one course. Maybe invest £1,000, £2,000, but probably no more than that. And then just slowly, and then see if you can make the money back.
Yeah.
And slowly kind of work your way up to it. I think that's probably the best advice I can give to a teenager, because at the end of the day, teenagers go to university to do business degrees all the time.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a property investor, what we've set out is no different, really.
And they paid 27 grand for it over 3 years.
Yeah. Exactly, and probably not being able to become financially free in 12 months like you've done.
No.
So, but everyone's different ultimately, and I think everybody has to make their own mind up. You were an adult when you did the training. You were 18 before you paid for any training.
Yeah.
Started watching the videos at 17, but everyone has to make up their own mind. But ultimately, I think if you want to get what most people can't get in life, then you need to do things that they're not prepared to do.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what you've done.
Yeah.
Most people are prepared to go to the crash course, spend their little bit of money that they've got on training, speak to 20, 30 agents and get rejected.
Yeah.
Most people are not prepared to do that. You've done that, and that's why you've become financially free in 12 months.
Yeah, well, hopefully this video can inspire people to, or maybe push them to make that jump and spend some money on some training. And then, like you said, it pays for itself with one deal.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then not only have you paid off that money that you spent on training, but now you've got the knowledge and the confidence to go do it again.
Yeah. And also, if they're unsure, start with coming to the free training, come down to the crash course.
Yeah.
What would you say you would say to yourself going back, say, a year or two? What would be the best advice you'd give to your, say, 18-month younger self?
Take action, do something. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could even just start off by watching videos or reading a book like Rich Dad Poor Dad, or doing some streams that you do, the online courses or the crash courses that are only £1. And then you put yourself in that environment, and it almost holds you accountable to, okay, well, I've spent this time doing this, watching videos, doing the courses. Let's see how I can implement it.
Yeah.
And get in contact with people that are there as well, especially if you've not got that immediate support around you with family and friends. Meet someone at the crash course, talk to someone, and then maybe you can even do a deal together kind of thing.
Yeah, that's so important. Also, when you first started watching my videos, I know you watched like James Armstrong, Winners on a Wednesday. You saw a lot of people on Winners Wednesday. Did you think that you'd be sat in my house on Winners Wednesday within a year?
No, not at all. It's quite surreal. I remember driving up to the house, I've seen this in so many videos, it's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, watching people like James, especially because, not only because he's done so well, but because of the age thing as well, it really helps hone into me that, oh, well, you can be 18, 19, 20, 21 and without a lot of money and still go out and achieve and go out and work really hard, and then you can be sat here making videos, meeting you, coming to your wonderful house, meeting your lovely family. So,
and there's so many people now that you know as well, like James and all these people on Winners Wednesday. You now know them personally.
Yeah.
Right, you're part of the environment, you're part of the club, and I always say environment is stronger than willpower. If you're trying to psych yourself up at home on your own to do stuff, sometimes you just won't do it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get, what did I say to you earlier? I was like, 80% of success.
Showing up.
What does that mean?
It's like I was just saying, going and meeting people, going to the crash courses, or if it's going and doing viewings, or maybe even sat just looking at an auction or something like that. Just being there, being in that environment, like you say, is so important to meeting people or making money, like contacts make contracts. Yeah. Or, show me your friends, I'll show you your future kind of thing.
See, some people will say that you got lucky, but I'll say actually Tom didn't get lucky. Tom created his own luck by putting himself at the right place at the right time, which you've done. So, Tom, respect, brother. I'm super proud of you. I know this is for you, even though you're financially free, this is just the first step. and you are gonna blow up. So well done.
Thank you.
Guys, I think you'll agree what an absolutely incredible guy Tom is. Do us a favor, smash the like button. I think you're gonna see Tom blow up massive over these next few years. So why don't you drop a comment of support in the comment box below. Also, I've been doing this for almost 3 years, where I've been interviewing one of my success students who's become financially free as a direct result of the training. And I've been doing this every single week on Winners on a Wednesday. So if you wanna see more interviews like this, there's way over 100 right up here, over there. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, which you can do over here. And if you want to meet me personally at the Property Investors Crash Course, I'll leave a link in the description and you can come down for free. See you soon. God bless. Peace out.